Hi, Dale.
Hello. Hey.
Hey, it's Joe Plummer. How you doing?
Hey, Joe. How's it going?
Sorry to bother you so many times about this tour story thing. Do you think you can have the time to give me one?
Yeah. I really got to wash my dog. He got skunked, so
I thought you were skunked. Okay. Well,
yeah.
Is there a good, better time? And after you watch the dog? Or?
Right. Yeah, I'll get back to you, okay?
All right. Thanks, man.
All right.
You got my number on your phone, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Okay.
Bye.
Dale Crover has toured with the Melvins and other bands for over 25 years. He knows what it's like to get, "You're in a band, huh?" as good as anyone. But a particular pullover in the middle of nowhere, Texas, leaves him questioning reality and seriously concerned about his livelihood.
From Ruinous Media, this is Tour Stories.
I would imagine how every story should be, well, we were on tour and we were driving through the middle of nowhere in Texas. I think maybe someplace outside of Vidor. You know Vidor, Texas? Don't stop there. I think the KKK is from Vidor. So this time we're driving on our way to a gig and I'm kind of sleeping in the back and all of a sudden we're getting pulled over. No big deal. Like we've been pulled over a billion times on tour, right? You know, some cops giving you a hard time for being in a band. Certainly, we've had those kind of hassles a bunch of times, but usually everything's fine. We don't break the law. You know, there's no reason why we would be getting in trouble. So we get pulled over in the middle of nowhere, right? And the cop comes up on the right-hand side of the vehicle, and he's like this big Southern cop. He's got the big giant hat. He's got the glasses on. He's this huge dude. He looks like Buford T. Justice, you know. He comes up and he goes, "Driver, you know, you were going a little bit fast. Here, why don't you get out of the car and let me talk to you into the back of the vehicle." And so Cody is the guy driving. And so he goes into the back. And he's talking to him for a second. And then all of a sudden he comes back up on the passenger side to where our road manager is sitting. And our road manager has got super long hair and a long beard, and he looks like a biker. You know, he's not Mr. Charlie Church or anything like that. You know, he's a greasy-looking rock and roll biker dude. And he comes up to the window. The cop comes up to the window, and then he looks down on the ground, and he picks up a baggie. And he's like, "Well, what's this?" And our road manager's like, "I don't know. It's not mine." He's like, "Oh, it's not yours, huh? Well, you know, at least you could have chucked it a little farther so I wouldn't find this." And he's like, "It's not mine." It's like, "Oh, you don't smoke marijuana. You guys are in a band, right? You don't smoke marijuana?" No. "Well, what do you smoke then? Meth?" No. Now we're starting to get nervous. None of us threw that baggie outside. And we got pulled over pretty much in like the middle of nowhere, vacant gas station, nothing around there, bunch of trash on the side of the road. So it's like, could have been anybody's bag, you know? But it's right there, and we're right there. It looks awful bad for us. And so he's like, "All right, let me see who we got in this vehicle." And he opens up the side door, and he's getting everybody's ID. And, you know, of course, in that kind of situation, you're going to be a little bit nervous. I handed him my ID, and he's like, "Well, what are you shaking for?" And I'm like, "Well, you just pulled us over and found a bag of pot that's not ours." He's like, "Oh, well, are you the ringleader for everybody here? Are you the guy I should talk to?" No. Just saying. "All right, everybody get out of the car." And so he gets us all out of the car, puts us up to the front of the vehicle. And then all of a sudden, another cop car pulls up. And so the guy that pulled us over, he's more of a highway patrol guy, and these guys are some other cops. And he goes over and talks to these guys. He's like, "Okay, these guys are going to watch you while I search your vehicle." "Oh, okay." So he goes into the vehicle and starts taking bags out. He's like, "Whose bag is this?" And he was maybe like Toshi. He's like, "Oh, that's mine." He's like, "Okay." Looks at it. puts it back, then he grabs my bag. Whose bag is this? I'm like, that's mine. He's like, all right, you, come here. Points to me. I'm like, what the hell would he have found in my bag? I've got nothing. Nothing at all that would be any kind of trouble. I walk back to the back of the van, and I see my backpack sitting there on the top of his hood. I see something sticking out of it. I'm like, that doesn't look right. I don't know what the hell that is. He's like, all right, you put your hands behind your back. And he cuffs me. He reads me my rights. I'm like, okay. And he goes over and he goes into my bag and he's like, son, you've got firearms. And he pulls out a 9mm pistol and lays it on the hood. I'm like, what the fuck? That's a felony here in Texas. Ooh, what do we got here? We've got some scales. He pulls out some electronic scales. I'm like, what? What the fuck? And then he's like, oh, and Lordy, look at what we have here. And he pulls out the biggest cartoon bag of cocaine I've ever seen in my life. Okay, my mind is just spinning and going like, well, what the fuck's going on? Why is this guy planting stuff in my bag? And why is he doing this? This really happens? Like I'm in Texas, and you always hear stories about the dreaded Southern sheriff's going to come get you. And this huge, scary-looking cop has just planted a bunch of stuff in my bag. And he's like, so what do you have to say about this? I'm like, I think I would like to get a lawyer. Oh, really? After all this, you want a lawyer? You sure? Yes. Can I have a lawyer, please? Oh. Well, you sure you don't want me to get narcotics down here? Look, this is a lot of cocaine. Looks like you got intent to sell right here. And you got firearms? You're in a lot of trouble, boy. But I'm in Texas. I'm going to probably be going to Huntsville prison. And, well, besides that, my wife is pregnant and at home with our daughter. Just thinking all that. I'm missing the gig tonight. This is going to fuck up, and I'm going to be ruined. So he puts me in the car and puts the camera on me, and he's like, is there anything you want to say at all? No, sir, I would just like a lawyer, please. Oh, well, could I talk to my friend up front there? Which one? The guy with the long hair? Well, I'm taking him to jail, too, because he's the one that threw that pot out the window. Okay, well, is it okay? Well, I guess so. And so he goes and gets our road manager. And he comes walking up. He sees all this stuff spread out on the hood of the car. And he looks in the window, and I'm like, you see what's going on here, man? He planted all that stuff in my bag. He's trying to frame me. Don't let him search your bags without watching him. And he's like, whoa, okay. He goes to the cop, and he's like, sir, I've known this guy for a long time. He's a friend of mine, and I have reason to believe that this stuff isn't his. Oh, yeah? Well, whose is it then? And by the way, who is this guy? Well, he's Dale Crover. He's a drummer. He plays in the band. So you guys are on your way to a gig then, huh? Yeah. Well, I haven't even searched the rest of the van yet, and I found that marijuana on you. He's like, well, sir, that's not mine, and, I do have reason to believe that this isn't his either. Oh, is that right? Then he gets me out of the car, and I'm like, okay, well, he's still saying he's going to take me to prison, but he's getting me out of the car. What's the name of your band? Melvins? I've never even heard of you guys before. Well, you guys have a show tonight? Like, yeah. Well, I guess that's canceled. This is going to be on CNN, just like when we busted Snoop Dogg, busted his whole bus full of marijuana. You guys are going to be famous now. Well, like one of my good friends told me, Adam Jones from Tool, he said you guys are all punks. The whole thing was masterminded, and the police officer is actually a big music fan. friends with the tool guys and whatnot. He saw that we had to drive right through where he works. And he called up. He's like, hey, I want to pull this joke and bust one of your guys. And guess who got elected to be busted without knowing it? Yep, that was me. It was a very elaborate joke, but I must say, revenge is a dish served best cold.
Thanks to Dale for the story. Tune to our next episode featuring Ted Leo from Ted Leo and the Pharmacist. The lead singer of Ted Leo and the Pharmacist. Started the band Ted Leo and the Pharmacist. Ted. Pacow.